YouTube family, welcome back to another episode of 2A-N-LA. As always, anything I say in this episode, prior episodes, and future episodes is just my personal opinion. You should not take it as fact. You should not take it as law. Always do your own homework and come up with your own conclusions. Right about now, I'm going to ask you to go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, go ahead, hit the notification bell, drop down a comment, and share it with your peeps. All right? Look, let's get this episode rolling. Look, this is going to be, I think, a fun episode because, and it comes up because I get this all the time, right? The question that people be hitting me with is like, first of all, they ask me, how many guns do you have, right? And then whenever I tell them, they're like, oh my God, what? That's too many. That's just too many. What, are you planning on going to war? What? Do you know something I don't know? What are you getting prepared for? Blah, 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 on and on and on, right? So look, a friend of mine, female friend of mine, asked me the question, and she was like, I got that reaction, right? And then I asked her, well, let me ask you a question. How many shoes do you have in your closet? And she's like, huh? Who? Me? Who? What? I don't. Those two don't compare. Those two don't compare. Yes, they do compare, right? And I asked her. I said, "You still haven't answered my question." And she was like, 70. I was like, 70? God, what are you getting ready for? I did the same thing. I gave it right back to her. Come on, y'all. It's so funny how when people are excessive in other parts of their life, they have no ability to be empathetic relative to or have any kind of transference of that to guns, right? They can't draw the dots. They can't form the lines. And so look, fam, you guys know when I first started, my gun journey just prior to the pandemic, I had one firearm, and that was a little chrome 380 Davis Industries, right? And when the pandemic started and folks was going crazy and everything, I was like, you know what? I need to step up my home defense game. Now, the type of person I am, I'm very methodical. I'm very analytical. I believe in doing my homework. And so I started, really researching firearms. I got on YouTube and I found all these phenomenal YouTube creators who were putting out content, and I was just eating it all up, learning everything that I possibly could. And then I went out and got one turned to two turned to three. By the time I did my 2021 gun collection video, which was like the second and third videos that I did one for handguns, one for long guns. At that time, I think I had like 17, including my little Davis Industries. Now, I said then, for some people, they might think that that's a lot of guns. For other people, and a lot of YouTube channels that I've seen, it's nothing. It's a starter kit, right? And so since then, look, 2021, look, your boy's been busy. Your boy's been busy. So look, I probably doubled up. I ain't gonna lie, y'all. I done doubled up from the start of 2021 to right now. Look, 2021 ain't over yet. 21, I still got a few more months, player. I still got a few more months. So we'll see where I end up. That said, I probably have I have a list of guns that I want, right? There's probably another 20 guns on that list. And so, I don't know. Is that too many? So if I've doubled up where I was from 17 and there's another 20. So let's say I could snap my fingers and I had all the guns that I wanted. 50, that would probably put me between 50 to 60 guns. Is that too many? Is that too many? I don't know. That's personal preference. I think one of the reasons why my friend and other people can't wrap their head around having that many guns is because they think that, guns only serve one purpose. And I say there's two kind of people out there. There's anti-gunners who don't believe anybody should have a firearm, right? They just think guns are too dangerous. They're violent. They're this, they're that, the blah, 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 blah. And forget the fact that there's, 400 million in the United States or so. They just want all of them to go away. Well, that's not going to happen, right? And so that person, one gun is too many. And then there are people that I wouldn't say are anti-gun. They're just, meh. They're just meh. They're not gun people. You know, maybe they're not opposed to guns. Maybe they even have one gun. But for them, it's a means to an end. It's a means of self-defense to defend their home and property. And these are the people who have the gun that sits in the nightstand like me, like I was back in the day, and didn't touch it for 10 years, never trained with it or whatever, right? So aside from those people, what I always try to explain to those people is that gun ownership can be multifaceted, right? Yes, there's self defense and home protection, but even in that vein, even in that narrow vein of self-defense and home protection, you probably need multiple firearms. The firearm that's best suited for defending your home is likely not going to be the most ideal firearm if you're going to conceal carry, right? And if you are also, and then within defending your home, certain guns may or may not be the best tool depending on the scenario. What are you facing? A single intruder or multiple intruders? What's situate? Are you in an urban environment, or are you in a a rural environment? Right? Where are you at the given time that this defense needs to take place? One of the things that I do is I go hiking a lot. I do a lot of photography out in remote locations where I run into mountain lions, bears, lions and tigers and bears, oh my, right? And so look, a little 9mm is probably not going to get the job done with that. Right? So in those instances, maybe I need something with a little more firepower. Maybe that's when the G20 comes out, right? So look, even in the framework of home protection, I would argue, and self-defense, I would argue that there are probably multiple firearms that are needed. Now, if you expand beyond that bubble and you start getting into something that I'm starting to get into now, which is competitive shooting, with both pistol, rifle, and shotgun. Okay, well now that's a whole different setup. That's a whole different setup. So you don't have to go out necessarily and get guns that are more suited to that. You can, you can go out and have fun and shoot with whatever you got, right? But if you're starting to get a little bit more serious about it, you probably want something that's a little more catered to that arena. And so that's more, right? Now, I haven't got into hunting yet. That's not, I don't know. I haven't, I don't know people that hunt. I'm a city kid. So I haven't really got into hunting. But if you're doing that, that's likely another set of weaponry, right? There are other firearms that are probably better catered to hunting. And depending on what you're hunting, different firearms for potentially different prey. And so there's that, right? More, right? And then above all of those things, if you are like me, now you have really gotten fascinated about firearms in general, different calibers, different manufacturers, different mechanisms, all the accessories that go with it, right? So now you're really talking more about collection. And when you're a collector, there really is not a need to stop if you don't want to. Particularly since most guns tend to hold their value. So really quick, a sidebar note, I should say this. Look, if I didn't live in the state of California, I probably have every gun that I want. The 20 or so guns that are on my list, they're on my list because either they are uber expensive and I got other things that I'm trying to do, and or they are very difficult to find in the state. For handguns in the state of California, if you want to go into a store and buy a handgun, it has to be on an approved handgun roster. And that roster ain't changed since I don't know when. The hot stuff that's on the hot stuff that's on the handgun roster is stuff like the Glock 17. It's like the CZ SP01. Stuff that Right? For 30, 40 years, y'all. Gen 3. When I say Glock 17, Gen 3. Not 4 or 5, Gen 3. Right? So, look, everything that's on the handgun roster that I want, I pretty much got. The stuff that I've been able to collect that is not on the roster are things that I've bought what? The things that I bought private party, right? And so that's the only way you can get a gun. It's not on that's the only way you get a handgun that's not on the handgun roster is if you buy a private party. And to get a private party, there's a very limited supply because the only people that can buy guns that are not on the roster are exempt people like police and law enforcement and certain government officials and people who moved to California and brought their non-roster guns with them. When they decide they don't want the guns anymore, or a lot of times they'll buy it and never even fire it. The guns will be brand new. They just bought them because they liked them, because they were collectors, and now they've decided the circumstances have changed and they want to get their money out. They can sell them, and they can sell them at a premium. And I'll tell you that markup here is something between 50 and 100%. So if a gun costs you $1,000 to buy, it's going to cost me somewhere between $1,500 and $2,000. So you can imagine what a $2,000 gun is costing me, right? And so if it wasn't for that, I'd have all the guns. But unfortunately, that is not the case. I deal with what I have to deal with here in Cali, and I just roll like that. But again, if I could snap my fingers and have all the guns on my list, I don't think that that's too many. I'll just in wrapping this up and playing a little bit of devil's advocate, I'd say a couple of things though. Guns, like many things, can be addictive, right? If you are not taking care of your financial responsibilities or falling behind because you can't stop buying guns, you should probably check that, right? You should probably nip that in the bud. This is not me being judgy. I love y'all. Do you. Do you. You live your own life however you want to live it. I'm just trying to give some salient advice because I do care. So if you're buying so many guns and accessories and ammunition and stuff like that, that you are falling behind on the critical things, then I'd say, ease up, take a break. Take a break and breathe. The other thing I would say too is this. Again, this is not me telling you what to do. I would never do that. I'm not about that. And this is not me judging you in any way, shape, form, or fashion. Do however you want to do. This is just me trying to maybe provide a little bit of wisdom from my perspective. I think one of the things that I've seen is that, so I'll use a golf analogy, right? Because I play golf. So I've seen cats who will go out and they always got the latest, greatest equipment, right? They got the brand new driver. They got the brand new irons. They got the brand new shoes that just came out last week. You look up and they're like $1 million. And their game is garbage. It's straight garbage. They suck. Right? And in my mind, I'm always thinking, why don't you spend less on equipment and spend some money on some lessons? Fix that swing of yours, because it is trash. And I know we've seen this right in basketball, right? The dude that he got the fresh Jordans, he got the look or whatever, and can't ball to save his life, right? That dude, right? So don't be that dude. Don't be that dude. In the gun world, a lot of dudes spend all this money on guns, equipment, or whatever, and then they don't train, they don't master the weapon. And so I would say this, the reason why most of us bought that first gun or second gun was because we wanted to defend ourselves. We want to be able to defend our families, right? And then once we got into it, we realized, oh my God, these guns are incredible. They're amazing. And so we went off on whatever, but don't lose track of that original thing, and don't have so many weapons that you're kind of a jack of all trade, but a master of none. Figure out what your everyday carry weapon is and master that. Figure out what your home defense guns are going to be and master those. And then if you want to have others to shoot for fun, that's all good, right? Don't be one of these guys who trades out their concealed carry every day because they can, but you're not proficient at any of them. You know, that's not going to help you. And so that's all I would say is, you know, really, you know, for collection is great. Collect as many as you want, as many as you can afford to collect. You know when it's too many? When you decide it's too many. Not when somebody else tells you it's too many. When you decide it's too many, that's when it's too many. All right? And other than that, you know, just enjoy your guns. You know, collect as you want. Shoot them if you want to. Don't shoot them if you don't want to. I would just say try to master the ones that you're really going to rely on for self-defense. Other than that, there's no such thing as too many. All right? Until next time, family, as always, peace.